There are moments in life when everything on the surface seems ordinary, yet deep within, something feels unsettled. You may not always have the words to describe it, but you can sense it. A heaviness, a resistance, a quiet struggle that follows you even into stillness. It shows up in your thoughts, in your emotions, in the way peace seems just out of reach. And so we begin here by gently acknowledging that these unseen burdens are real. They are not imagined, and they are not insignificant. Sometimes these blockages are formed through fear that has lingered too long, or doubts that have been quietly repeated until they felt like truth. Sometimes they are rooted in past experiences that left a mark on your heart, moments of pain, disappointment, or regret that were never fully released. And over time, without even realizing it, these things begin to build walls within us. They cloud our clarity, weaken our confidence, and create distance between where we are and the peace we long to feel. But there is no need to hide from this awareness. In fact, there is great strength in facing it, because the moment you recognize that something is weighing on your spirit, you have already taken the first step toward freedom. You are no longer ignoring it, no longer pushing it aside. You are bringing it into the light, and where there is light, there is always the beginning of change. You see, many people try to move forward without ever pausing to understand what is holding them back. They rush, they strive, they search outwardly for solutions, while inwardly the same patterns continue. But tonight, in this sacred moment, you are choosing something different. You are choosing to be still, to be honest, and to gently say, yes, there are things within me that I need to release. And there is no shame in that. Not one bit. Because every human heart carries something it was never meant to carry alone. The weight of worry, the tension of uncertainty, the quiet echoes of negativity. They can accumulate so subtly that you hardly notice until they begin to affect how you think, how you feel, and even how you see your future. So allow yourself to recognize it now. Perhaps it is a thought that keeps returning, telling you that you are not enough. Perhaps it is a fear that whispers about what might go wrong. Or maybe it is simply a heaviness you cannot explain, but you know it is there. Whatever it may be, you do not need to define it perfectly. You only need to acknowledge its presence. And as you do, something begins to shift. Because awareness is not weakness, it is the doorway to transformation. The moment you stop resisting what you feel, and instead observe it with honesty, you create space for something new to enter. You create space for peace to begin its work. Now I want you to understand this clearly. These blockages do not define you. They may have influenced your thoughts, your emotions, even your decisions, but they are not who you are. They are simply layers that have formed over time, and what has been formed can be released. So do not be afraid to face what is within. Do not rush past this moment. Let it be still. Let it be real. Because right here in this quiet acknowledgement, something powerful is taking place. You are stepping out of denial and into truth. You are stepping out of confusion and into clarity. And that is where true freedom begins. And as you stand in this awareness, with a heart that is open and willing, you are ready for what comes next. This is where your release begins. And now, in this very moment, having recognized what has been resting upon your heart, you do not remain there alone. Because awareness is not the end, it is the invitation. It is the gentle opening of the door, and what you invite in next will determine everything that follows. So I ask you, not with pressure, but with a quiet sincerity, will you invite the Holy Spirit into this space within you? Not as a distant idea, not as a ritual of words, but as a real and present help. Because the Holy Spirit does not enter where he is not welcomed, yet he comes instantly where he is invited with honesty. And there is something so powerful about a simple, genuine invitation. It does not need to be complicated. It does not require perfect language. It only requires a willing heart. You may feel unprepared. You may wonder if you are worthy, or if you have said the right things, or lived the right way. But set those thoughts aside, because this invitation is not based on your perfection. It is based on your openness. And right now your heart is open. So begin, even now, quietly within yourself. You might simply say, Holy Spirit, I welcome you. And as those words form, whether spoken aloud or whispered within, something begins to shift in the unseen. Because you are no longer standing in your own strength. You are no longer facing these burdens by yourself. You are inviting a presence that brings comfort where there has been unrest, clarity where there has been confusion, and peace where there has been tension. Do not rush this moment. Let it unfold gently, because the presence of the Holy Spirit is not something to be forced, it is something to be received. And receiving requires stillness. It requires a pause from striving, a release of control, and a willingness to simply be. You may begin to notice a quietness settling over you, not an emptiness, but a calm, a sense that you are no longer alone in what you are feeling. And even if you do not feel something immediately, do not let that trouble you. The Holy Spirit does not depend on your emotions to be present. He is there because you have invited him. And as you remain in this posture of openness, allow your heart to speak honestly. There is no need for formal words. Just as you would speak to someone who understands you completely, you can speak now. You can say, I need your help. You can say, I cannot carry this anymore. You can say, come into every place within me that feels heavy and unclear. Because this is what the Holy Spirit does. He enters the places we cannot fix on our own. He reaches into the depths we often avoid, not to condemn, but to restore. And where he is welcomed, change begins quietly but powerfully. Let your defenses fall. Let the need to appear strong fade away. Because true strength in this moment is found in surrender. It is found in the simple act of saying, I am here and I am ready to receive. And as you invite him, trust that he is already moving. You may not see it yet, but something is happening beneath the surface. The walls that once felt solid are beginning to loosen. The heaviness you carried is no longer anchored as it once was, because where the Holy Spirit is present, nothing remains unchanged. So stay here for a moment. Stay in this awareness, this openness, this quiet invitation. Let it deepen. Let it become real to you, not just something you are hearing, but something you are experiencing. Because this is not just a step in a process. This is a turning point. This is where you shift from carrying everything alone to allowing divine help to enter your life in a real and personal way. And as you continue, with a heart that has opened and invited, you are now ready to release what you have been holding. The Holy Spirit is here. And now that you have opened your heart and invited the Holy Spirit into this sacred space within you, something very gentle yet deeply powerful begins to unfold. Because where his presence is welcomed, there comes an invitation, not forced, not rushed, but tenderly offered, to release. You have already recognized the weight you've been carrying. You have already taken the courageous step of acknowledging what has been hidden beneath the surface. And now, you are not being asked to fight it, or fix it, or even fully understand it. You are simply being asked to let it go. So many hold on, not because they want to suffer, but because they have grown used to the weight. It becomes familiar. The thoughts, the worries, the quiet fears, they repeat themselves until they feel like a part of you. But hear this clearly, they are not a part of you. They are burdens you have carried, and what has been carried can be released. And release does not happen through struggle, it happens through surrender. So right now, in this moment, begin to loosen your grip. Not with force, but with willingness. Imagine those thoughts that have weighed on your mind. Those cycles of negativity, those quiet doubts, those lingering regrets. You don't need to analyze them. You don't need to relive them. Just recognize them. And then gently place them into the presence you have invited. You might say within yourself, I release this. Not once, but as often as needed. I release this fear. I release this worry. I release this heaviness. And as you do, something begins to shift. Because surrender is not emptiness, it is exchange. You are not simply letting go into nothingness. You are placing what burdens you into hands that are able to carry what you cannot. There may be emotions that rise as you do this. That's all right. Do not push them away. Let them come and let them pass. Because sometimes what we have held in for so long needs a moment to surface before it can truly leave. But you are safe here. You are not alone in this process. Let go of the need to hold everything together. Let go of the pressure to figure everything out. Let go of the quiet voice that tells you to stay in control. Because in this moment, control is not what you need, freedom is. And freedom begins when you trust enough to release. Perhaps there are words you have carried about yourself that were never true. Words of limitation, of inadequacy, of failure. You can release those now. They do not belong to you. Perhaps there are memories that still carry a weight of pain or regret. You can release those too. Not by denying they happened, but by choosing not to carry them any longer. You are not erasing your past, you are freeing your present. And as you continue to release, layer by layer, you may begin to notice a lightness. It may be subtle at first, a quiet sense that something is no longer as heavy as it once was. That is the beginning of true inner freedom. Stay with it. Don't rush past it. Let each breath become a moment of release. With every exhale, allow something to leave, something you no longer need to hold. And with every inhale, allow yourself to receive calm, to receive stillness, to receive peace. You do not need to force peace to come. When you release what disturbs it, peace naturally follows. And remember, you are not doing this alone. The Holy Spirit you have invited is present in this very process, assisting, strengthening, gently guiding you as you let go of what has weighed on you for far too long. So continue even now. Let the last of that tension soften. Let the final remnants of that heaviness be placed into his care. Trust that what you release will not return with the same hold it once had, because something new is making room within you. And as that space opens, you are ready to experience what comes next. It is leaving you now, and now, as you have begun to release what once weighed so heavily upon you, there comes a moment that is not only gentle, but powerful. Because there are times when it is not enough to simply let go. There are things that must be broken. You have felt them before, patterns that seem to repeat no matter how much you try to move forward, thoughts that return even after you've dismissed them, feelings that try to settle back into the same place you just cleared. These are not just passing moments. They can become cycles, and cycles form chains. Invisible, yes, but very real in their effect. But hear this with clarity. What has formed over time is not unbreakable. There is a power present with you now that does not negotiate with these barriers. It does not struggle against them. It simply overcomes them. And this is the moment where you begin to stand in that power. You are not standing in your own strength anymore. You are not trying to push through by effort alone. You have invited the Holy Spirit, and where He is present, limitations do not remain as they were. So now, instead of quietly enduring what once held you back, you begin to rise with a new authority, an inner certainty that what bound you does not have the final say. You may not feel strong in the natural sense, but strength is not what you are producing, it is what you are receiving. And as you receive it, something within you begins to align with truth rather than fear, with clarity rather than confusion. So now within yourself begin to declare a shift, not with loudness but with conviction. This ends now. This no longer has power over me. This cycle is broken. And as you say it, whether aloud or quietly within, you are not speaking empty words. You are agreeing with a power greater than what has been resisting you. You are stepping out of agreement with limitation and into agreement with freedom. Because many times what keeps a barrier in place is not just its presence, but our acceptance of it. The moment you stop accepting it as permanent, something begins to crack. And this is that moment. You may sense resistance even now, a thought that questions, a feeling that hesitates. But do not give it your focus. Let it pass without attachment. Because what is breaking does not need your doubt to remain. It only needs your willingness to stand in what is true. And what is true is this: you were never meant to remain bound. So let the breaking begin. Imagine those patterns that once held you, those repeated fears, those lingering doubts, those internal barriers, and see them not as immovable walls, but as fragile structures that cannot withstand the presence now surrounding you. They are giving way. They are loosening their hold. They are losing their strength. You don't have to force it. You don't have to make it happen. You simply remain aligned with what is happening. And as you do, there is a quiet but undeniable shift. The tension that once felt tight begins to release. The heaviness that once felt anchored begins to lift. The repetition that once felt endless begins to weaken. Because where the Holy Spirit moves, nothing that opposes peace can remain intact. Stay in this awareness. Let it deepen. Let it become real to you. You are not the same in this moment as you were before. Something has changed, not just in what you feel, but in what holds power over you. What once seemed fixed is no longer fixed. What once felt strong is no longer strong. And even if you cannot fully explain it, you can sense it. There is space where there was pressure. There is calm where there was tension. There is freedom where there was resistance. This is what it means for chains to break. Not always with noise, but with certainty. Not always in an instant you can measure, but in a shift you cannot deny. So do not look back to see if it still holds you. Do not return to question what is already being undone. Stay forward. Stay present. Stay aligned with what is now taking place within you. Because this is not temporary, this is a turning. And as what once bound you falls away, you are ready to receive what will now fill that space. It is broken now. And now, in the quiet that follows what has just been released, in the stillness that comes after what has been broken, there is a sacred moment unfolding within you. Because when something is emptied, it is never meant to remain vacant. There is always a filling that follows, a gentle, powerful filling that brings restoration. You have let go. You have allowed what was heavy to leave. You have stood in the breaking of what once held you. And now, without striving, without effort, you begin to receive. This is where the presence of the Holy Spirit moves not only to remove, but to renew. You may begin to notice it as a calm that feels deeper than before. Not just the absence of tension, but the presence of peace. A peace that does not depend on circumstances. A peace that settles quietly yet firmly within you. It does not rush in, it unfolds. It rests upon your heart in a way that feels steady, grounded, real. Let yourself receive it. Do not question it. Do not analyze it. Simply allow it. Because this peace is not something you create. It is something given. And as it settles, there is also a cleansing taking place. Not something you must work for, but something that is happening within you even now. Every place that once felt clouded begins to clear. Every space that once felt burdened begins to lighten. It is as though something is gently washing through your thoughts, your emotions, your inner being, lifting away what no longer belongs. You may not see it with your eyes, but you can sense it. A freshness, a clarity, a quiet sense that something has been made new. And this cleansing is not partial. It reaches deeper than surface feelings. It touches the places that words cannot fully describe. The places where tension once lived, where heaviness once settled, where confusion once lingered. And as it moves through, it leaves behind something different. It leaves behind stillness. It leaves behind clarity. It leaves behind a quiet strength. And you begin to realize you are not carrying what you were carrying just moments ago. There is space within you now, space to breathe, space to think clearly, space to simply be without that constant pressure you once felt. Stay here. Let it continue, because there is no need to rush away from this moment. This is where renewal takes root. This is where something new begins to establish itself within you. You may even notice a shift in how you feel about what once troubled you. It no longer grips you in the same way. It no longer defines your focus. That is not because you have ignored it. It is because it has been cleansed from its place of control. And in its place, something steady remains. There is a sense of being held not by circumstances, not by your own effort, but by a presence that sustains peace from within. And that presence is not distant. It is here. It is with you. It is active in this very moment. Let your heart rest in that. Let your thoughts settle into that. Let your breathing align with that calm that is now surrounding you. Because this is what true renewal feels like. Not loud, not overwhelming, but unmistakable. A quiet transformation that reaches deeper than words, yet changes everything. And as this peace continues to fill you, you may begin to feel a gentle strength rising alongside it. Not a forceful strength, but a steady one. A confidence that does not need to prove itself. A knowing that you are no longer where you were. You have been cleansed. You have been renewed. You have been restored. And this is not something that will fade the moment you move forward. This is something that remains with you, because it has been established within you. So receive it fully. Do not hold back. Do not limit what is being given. Let the peace deepen. Let the clarity remain. Let the renewal settle into every part of you. Because what has filled you now is greater than what has left you. And as this fullness becomes your new state, you are ready to step forward in a way that is different from before. You are renewed now. And now as you stand in this place of renewal, something within you is quieter, clearer and stronger than it was before. What you have experienced in these moments is not meant to remain only here. It is not confined to this time of stillness. It is something you carry forward with you, into your thoughts, your choices, your daily life, because this is where your path begins to change. You are not stepping back into life as you were. You are stepping forward as someone who has released, who has allowed, who has received. And that matters more than you may fully realize. Because when something shifts within you, even quietly, it begins to influence everything around you. But as you move forward, there is something to remember. The peace you feel now is not something to protect with fear. It is something to sustain with awareness. It does not require perfection, but it does ask for intention. There will be moments ahead when old thoughts may try to return. Familiar patterns may attempt to reappear. Situations may arise that once would have unsettled you. But you are not the same now, and you do not need to respond in the same way. You have already seen what it means to release. You have already experienced what it feels like to be free from that weight. So when those moments come, you simply return. Not to struggle, not to overthink, but to what you now know. You return to stillness. You return to trust. You return to the awareness that you are not alone, and that you do not have to carry what tries to attach itself again. And as you do, something powerful begins to form within you. Not just a moment of peace, but a pattern of peace. A way of being that becomes more natural with time. Not because life becomes perfect, but because you are no longer governed by what once disturbed you. This is how you walk forward. Not with urgency, but with steadiness. Not with fear of losing what you have gained, but with quiet confidence that it remains with you. And as you continue, there is something else that begins to grow. A sense of gratitude. Not forced, not spoken just for the sake of words, but something genuine. A recognition that something has changed within you, and that change is real. Let that gratitude be simple. It does not need to be elaborate. Even a quiet thank you within your heart carries more power than you may realize. Because gratitude keeps your focus aligned with what has been given, rather than what once was. And where your focus rests, your experience follows. So keep your awareness gently centered on the peace you now carry. When your mind begins to wander, bring it back, not with pressure, but with ease. When your emotions shift, allow them to settle again into the calm that is now familiar to you. This is not about holding on to a moment. It is about allowing that moment to shape how you live. And you will find as you continue in this way, that what once felt difficult becomes natural. What once felt distant becomes close. What once felt uncertain becomes steady. Because you are no longer searching for peace, you are living from it. And wherever you go, whatever you face, this remains available to you. Not something you must chase, but something you can return to again and again, as often as needed. So walk forward with that knowing, carry it quietly, let it guide you without effort. And trust that what has begun within you will continue to unfold in ways you do not need to force or control. You have stepped into something real. You have aligned with something steady. And from this moment on, you move differently, not because everything around you has changed, but because something within you has. And that is where true transformation lives. Walk in it,